There's no doubt Tesla is known as a leader in both electric vehicles and technology innovation in general. But today we'll review the boastful statements competitors like Lucid, Ford, and Toyota are making. First, we have a video of Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson saying they're better than Tesla. Second, unfortunate news from Ford. They're delaying again their next-gen Ford F-150 electric vehicle to 2027 now. This comes at the same time as another announcement that they just canceled plans for an all-electric 3-row SUV. They've got to manage their financial crisis first, it seems. Third, it looks like 4 years after Tesla started, Toyota is now announcing they'll be testing a 9,000-ton giga casting machine. And finally, we have a new report that Tesla is once again the best in an American Consumer Satisfaction Index study for luxury vehicles. To explain all this is Brian White, my good buddy, my friend, my confidant. I don't actually confide anything to you, but okay. Thanks.
But if you did, if you had anything that was critical, you'd know that I would help you bury the body. Yeah, this is every week
TMI,
is a big news
TMI.
week. Every week, well, it's an if. A lot of news to cover. This is going to be a good one, so let's get into it.
This is fun. Lucid, of course. He's Peter Rawlinson, quite the character. He used to work at Tesla. He's the CEO, not new, but he's the CEO of Lucid. You got a lot to say about Lucid. You know quite a bit about their financials and their situation. But it's interesting that he's still out there boasting like crazy. Lucid has taken the mantle from Tesla. We have the best tech. When I was at Tesla, it was the tech leader. Now it's distracted. So let's watch his.
I'd say, yeah. Well, I just say before you play that, I want to leave this slide up. First of all, we have the best tech. Prices and restrictions participation may vary. See store for details. Not available in all markets. Anyone can beat the leader in a category or two, but
right.
You're selling a $150,000 car for $80,000 and you're still struggling to move them. I don't know if that's the leader. And when I was at Tesla, it was the tech leader. Buddy, you were the guy who put 90-piece door handles in the car that would fail every 6 months. I don't think that's a big bragging point. The least valuable mass-produced Tesla was the one that Peter proudly was the lead designer on. So I don't know, Peter. I don't know. It seems like he's leading in hubris.
He begs to differ with you, dude.
In the process of completing the build out of our factory in Arizona to a capacity of 90,000 units per annum, we're on track for manufacturing around 9,000 Lucid Airs this year. Gravity's going to come in, and our finances are dominated by scale. It's all scale, scale, scale. And this is a big step in that scale. Clearly we have the best technology in the world. We've now taken the mantle from Tesla. We have the best tech, and that is being widely recognized.
Right, so you'd say that Lucid has surpassed Tesla in terms of technology.
Oh yes, absolutely. We've taken the mantle, without a doubt. I mean, everyone is striving for how far can you go with how little battery space. We are considerably ahead of where Tesla is. We've taken that mantle. When I was at Tesla, Tesla was the tech leader. They've become distracted, and we have taken that place.
Wow, when he was at Tesla, they were the tech leader. But then since he left, now Lucid is a tech leader. So
it's all about scale, massive scale. 90,000 isn't scale, Peter, and that would represent a 10x over today's target numbers. So I agree that extreme scale is what's needed. I disagree that 90,000 is extreme scale, and I'd still love to see you get to even your 2023 targets. If you are a shareholder today and you're concerned that they may go bankrupt, I think that concern will keep getting kicked down the road, because it appears that the Saudi investment fund will continue funding this indefinitely. The billion here, billion there is a rounding error compared to their daily revenues. But as a shareholder, you've got to look at the dilution factor, and every time they pump more money in, it is dilutive. And I've seen people say, well, you can pump money in a non-dilutive manner. Yes, then it's a loan, then it's a debt that you have to service. I don't think that's better. I think it's just different. So I don't know, man. I'm not seeing the ray of sunshine And to pretend that we are the tech leader because we managed to get really good efficiency out of one model that nobody will buy, I'm just not sold. And if their car is that good, they need to reach out to me and get me one for a week to find out myself.
Okay, so what do you know about Lucid? What is
part?
their financials? How much
their
are selling these
financials.
cars for? Yeah.
So these cars, they're burning mountains of cash. They're burning hundreds of millions a quarter, and they are in tough shape. If you look at it, their price to earnings ratio is, of course, infinity because they've never earned anything. And they are, the amount of money that they're losing is breathtaking. They are at a net loss on every unit sold. And their fans and supporters and investors and bag holders will say, yes, but Tesla didn't make money for a long time either. Tesla was losing money because of R&D expenses, CapEx, OpEx, not because of the cost of building the car. Every car Tesla sold got them closer to net profitability. With Lucid, every unit they sell at a loss, which means every unit they sell, apart from maybe the Sapphire, they're probably making profit on that. Every unit they sell gets them one step closer to their demise. And if you're losing money on every car you sell, the only way to lose less money is to sell fewer cars. And if there's one thing Lucid is very good at, it's selling fewer cars.
Yeah. I see here from this note that I'm looking at, they sold 539 vehicles in June, which is a 30% growth of last year, from previous. So 539, that's 5,000 sales per year. That's crazy. Looks like they're losing $300,000 per vehicle. Now, of course, this is taking the huge R&D investment they're putting in. They're losing money too much per vehicle. That's crazy. And then they got a $1.5 billion bailout from the Saudi, but that won't last long because if you're losing 300,000, unless they cut costs, so. Yeah,
well, and their plan is to Gravity is going to save us. No, it isn't. Gravity is a very expensive luxury SUV. That market is very limited. And the only possibility is that they can survive long enough to get their midsize out the door. Corey Steuben, formerly of Monroe and Associates, has been the lead on that. I think he will introduce a lot of cost savings. But he's more of a script doctor than an author. So I don't know how good his clean slate designs would be, but I am confident that he will bring benefits to the company in that regard. But by the time that midsize comes out, everybody else will have $35,000 midsizes, and you're going to be competing. You can't compete at that price. Not if you're planning for it to be a high performance, high luxury vehicle. You're going to need to sell them at 60, 70, 80,000. And I'm just not convinced the market will be there for that, let alone that you can afford to build the line that would make them in a serious volume.
Yeah, the problem is what Tesla showed was you build the more expensive vehicle, get the margin, use that money to build the second level and then bring it down. Well, they're not making the money, so they can't do this yet. And yet he's thinking that he's going to do this. So we'll see. Okay, let's go to the next story here. Ford F-150 is now delayed again. They're an EV for the next gen Ford F-150. This comes directly from Ford themselves. It's going to be delayed 2027. So back in April, just a few months ago, they announced the production of the next gen Ford F-150. It may not be called the Ford F-150 Lightning, was being delayed at the under construction wholly owned Blue Oval City from 2025 to 2026. Well, guess what? They're now delaying it yet again. Now they're blaming it on a shift in consumer demand. Consumers are preferring the Cybertruck, maybe, meaning that it felt like its resources were better served ramping up hybrid production amid growing sales in that segment. So they announced, they called it the Project T3 to the second half of 2027. And they're going to take feedback from the F-150 Lightning to make a better product, features and experiences never seen on an F4 truck before, bidirectional charging capability, advanced aero. Basically, it sounds to me like Cybertruck came out and I better produce something that's got at least some of the features that Cybertruck has. They take advantage of the falling battery prices, low-cost EV platform. Sure, unfortunately, It's what Ford is saying. Of course, another boast, right? This is the theme of the show. The boast from these CEOs is going to be futuristic styling, similar to the Millennium Falcon with his porch attached, referencing the legendary space vessel from Star Wars. Superior option to the Tesla Cybertruck, one of the most thrilling vehicles I've ever seen in my career. Let me be specific. Stunning performance like no truck has ever performed. Ability, unexpected innovation for truck customers, far beyond the normal truck attributes. A super flexible cabin that feels like a lounge or tiny office.
I love it. I love it. I hope that all of that is true. But if you're pushing it out years, again, I'm not convinced you're going to do it. These guys are so dedicated to chasing next quarter's profits, that they can't look into the future. And I think a big chunk of the blame needs to lie on the structure of the IRA credits, because they give so much weight to hybrids. You can build 10 hybrids with the same amount of battery that you would have put in one electric vehicle, especially a big battery like in a Lightning. And that creates perverse incentives where you're pushing the wrong thing because it looked good on paper at the time. And yeah, I'm just concerned that this will never come. If it ever does, maybe it will have that vision. If it falls short, maybe it'll still be an amazing truck. And really, the Millennium Falcon, famously the ugliest of all spacecraft in the entire Star Wars universe. It's asymmetrical and weird and lumpy. And that, you're going to throw a porch on it? Jim, what are you doing?
It's a futuristic vehicle.
It is futuristic, but...
So the problem, and we'll continue to explore further what's actually happening at Ford, because their own CFO came out and said that they're having, they can't invest in new vehicles because if it takes too long, like he said, 24 months, or is it 12 months? We'll see here. If it takes more than a year to get the profitability, they can't do it because their finances is structured as such.
But at the same time, yeah, and they have said that. They've said if we can't get to profit in 12 months, we're not going to do it. Guys, it takes you 3 years to develop a car. That's the development cycle of a car. Are you just making an excuse? Are you just pretending that that's the reason? Because that's what it feels like.
The only thing I could think of is when he described this future thing, it's going to be more like a lounge. Then maybe if this is being designed, like they're going, hey, what's the point of creating an electric vehicle now? If I'm going to partner with Tesla, get their FSD, maybe let's redesign it. That's the only solution I could think of that could save them. But let's take a look at their current situation right now. Electric did a great summary, I thought. Ford is again adjusting its vehicle roadmap, cutting electric vehicle spending from 40% to 30%. Okay, they're going to cut back on EV spending, placing a heavy focus on hybrids. This is what Toyota just announced yesterday, that they're going to go all hybrid. Instead of no more gasoline only, they're going to go hybrid. So these companies are finding refuge in the hybrid story. Highlights from today's announcement. So we'll cover this next, is that they had a planned electric SUV, a 3-row SUV that they've now scrapped. That's no longer going to happen. We just talked about this T3 electric pickup that's going to be delayed 2 years to 2027. They're going to focus more on the hybrids. They're going to focus more on the commercial electric vehicles. They're losing $40,000 on every EV sold in 2023. And so they had to slow down. Ford now plans to offer hybrid 3-row crossovers and says its first affordable EV on its low-cost platform will be the T3 midsize, but of course that will be made 2027. So basically no new vehicles for 3 years until late 2027. That's when you're going to start seeing a new vehicle per se. So this is directly from Detroit. Ford cancels plans for an all-electric 3-row SUV. It'll no longer make this that they were promising. Instead, focus on hybrid SUVs. They're going to prioritize the introduction of a new electric commercial van in 2026, followed by 2 new EV pickup trucks in 2027. Other future EVs aimed at affordability. This is what John Lawler, the Ford CFO, said. This is really about us being nimble and listening to responses from customers. What we're understanding is that customers want more electrification choices. So we need to do more hybrids. That's what's happened. These actions will reduce Ford's annual capital expenditures on pure EVs from about 40% to 30%. So this is based on decisions, is what Lawler said. A vehicle can be profitable within the first 12 months of launch. He said that wouldn't be the case with the all-electric 3-row SUV. So we're going to have to shut this down. They just don't have the money. They can't afford to do this. And they're going to take these expenses. Yeah.
So they're going to lose 400 million to write it down. That's okay. So the trick with making a 3-row EV is they're heavy and they're big, and those are two obstacles to EV efficiency. So then you get into the question of what are we going to do to actually get the range? Are we going to put a battery as big as we did in the Lightning or as big as Chevy has in their Silverado? And the answer would be, well, we kind of have to. And once you're doing that with a battery that big and heavy, now all your suspension's heavier, your brakes are heavier, your tires and wheels have to be more expensive. And now the cost is 80, 90, 100 grand. How many people are going to buy that? What they need to do is make it build it the size of a Ford Explorer, but call it a Lincoln e-Navigator so that you can attract a premium market, put leather seats in it, say it's a luxury car because it's so quiet and powerful, people will believe you. But I don't think they would be able to sell them in the kind of volume they need to get to a profit. But rather than getting some money and some market share, they're just going to throw that 400 million out the window. And that's crazy talk because that 400 million's gone either way. Might as well get something out of it. Nah, we're just going to write it down.
Just write it down. Okay, well, this is what they said here. A summary. Jeff Lutz did a good one. He said, huge write-downs and notice another 2 years before Ford ships a new electric vehicle per this article, which quotes the CFO. And it'll be a commercial van. So the Ford EV consumer lineup is the same for the next few years, maybe into 2027. Like this guy, Zill, said this. I remember when Farley said they wouldn't produce new BEVs, battery-only electric vehicles, if they couldn't get them to profitability. And that I said that it was the end of their BEV lineup. Then afterwards, we had investors on an earnings call strongly suggesting that they stop selling BEVs. Now it's all coming together. Production slowed down. They'll never reach scale to be profitable on the current models, right? Battery deals are undone. Factories are canceled or delayed. And the cherry on top, models that were planned with seriously financial commitments underway are being abandoned. All Tesla needs to do at this point to get GM and Ford out of the way is to go for the killing blow, produce millions of cheap BEVs with FSD. Then the whole continent will look like California with Tesla cars everywhere. And then he just repeated what lawyers said here. Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. And Jeff is, of course, right. Now, you remember a couple years ago, there were articles saying that Ford and GM hope to be profitable on their EVs by 2025. Well, that's not going to happen. They've both, Ford definitely threw in the towel on that prospect. They're hemorrhaging cash. They're bleeding cash from the eyeballs, but they're not moving forward in the way I would like them to. You can ride this internal combustion engine gravy train all the way to the grave if you want, and it looks like they are going to do just that. Why change if it's profitable today and for the next 3 to 5 years? Yeah, we're going to lose the entire international market because Ford can't sell in China unless they're selling EVs. And that's going to be starting in a matter of years. The same is true in Europe, and the same is true in parts of the US. So what on earth are you guys doing? You're throwing one last party with your last bit of savings. And I guess the only thing that Ford has as an advantage over GM is at least they're not buying back stock like crazy when they should be investing it.
Okay. That's the next story is Toyota and their giga casting. You and I have done a number of shows on this, and we've been following them along, and they've been slow, but they are considered to be a leader, and they have announced here that they're going to test these giga casting machines at Japan. Again, not new. There's been articles like this all over the place before. This is the example that they showed of a giga cast that they could do for their new vehicles. Luca Greco did a nice summary. He said Tesla versus Toyota. 2020, Tesla had 1 gigapress. Toyota had 0. Now Tesla has 21. Toyota has 1, and they have 1 to be installed only for R&D. Tesla makes money selling EVs. Toyota, of course, they've announced we did a show on this a couple days ago that they are going full hybrid. They've made a decision that they're going to change. They're going to introduce more hybrids instead of gas cars. They're going to stop producing gas-only cars, but now they'll produce gas plus hybrid, small batteries attached to it. There's nothing that Tesla has that Toyota doesn't. So there's been a number of institutional bears who say this. Craig Irwin is a big one. Toyota's the best. They're strong. They're big. Nothing they can do. Well, Toyota is going to install this giant giga casting machine at the Japanese plant as soon as this year. Located at this production center. Will be one of the largest pieces. It was 9,000 tons of clamping pressure. Typically, the giga casting machines only do 60,000 tons of force. It's actually made by this Japanese company. So it's not the Italian company that Tesla uses. That's what it looks like. So they're going to start giga casting with the next gen EV to be launched in 2026. So I don't know if this is still the case, because they did say they're going to go all hybrid, maybe with a few EVs still. The body
it's
will
tough
be
to say. It's tough to say because they still want to sell these internationally. Lexus is their marquee brand. If you want Lexus to remain on the roads in Europe and China, you have to sell something that is not a hybrid. So let's talk about the giga castings real quick. Sandy Munro had this giant single cast frame piece sitting in his lobby for a decade, and he would try and tell anyone who would listen, this is the future, this is what you should be working on. And they'd look at it and they're like, well, wouldn't the machine cost like hundreds of millions, and then we'd have to change it for every model? Pass. It's a pass. And then Tesla proved that you can not only do it, but do it cost effectively. And the advantage to a single casting is that it's going to it's not cheaper, today it's not lighter. Tomorrow will be both of those things. But for now, what it does, it is faster, and time is money. It reduces so many robots from production. All of that's money and potential errors. And the best thing is it gives you a nice flat base on which to build the rest of the car. Because the more pieces you add moving up, you get stacking errors. If this one's out this much, the next one is out automatically that much plus whatever its error is. By the time you get to the top of the vehicle, you can have some pretty wonky builds. So this is just quicker, cheaper, easier. And in the future, I was talking with Sandy Munro about this about a month ago. He said they will be getting lighter. You will see, right now they are overbuilt, over-engineered. They'll be getting lighter. We'll see the cross-hatching turn into webbing instead, with more empty space where it's just structural lattice rather than, a rigid piece. And that'll give a lot more... lot less material, a lot less waste, a lot less weight. It's everything good. And this is just another example of Tesla doing the hard work up front that allows others to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, everybody's copying them. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So this is what Toyota is planning to do. It's going to be the front, center, and rear segments, right? The front and rear will be giga casting just like Tesla does. In prototype testing, this is what they're doing. Giga casting machine is expected to be used to prototype EV components and not for mass production. So Toyota will assess. They're just testing this. So more than 10 companies are adopting giga casting. Like you said, Tesla starts it. Everybody copies. Tesla uses giga presses. And then Honda Motor has rolled out a 6,000-ton giga machine at their R&D. Nissan plans to install one in 2027. So they're all trying to catch up.
So let me tell you why you guys need to be following Luca Greco, because I've had an opportunity to talk with him off the record, and he gets information that is not public, and he does not publish it, but he has it ready to go. So the second it can be published, it is. So he'll get early access, he'll get inside information, and he's got a real finger on the pulse, even if he's not allowed to tell you why he knows what he knows. So when an announcement comes out like Honda or Toyota, he's got the entire write-up already written and ready to go because he's known for months. And I've invited him on my show, but he says, yeah, I'm not willing to go public with who I am just yet. So,
gotcha.
But he'll provide me all kinds of information on background and some with, citations and all that. So he is a fantastic resource. If you're not following him, he is the Jordan Giesecke of gigacastings, if you will.
Nice. And you are the Brian White.
Of factories.
You know so much as well, but it's your connections to these people that you've established. You travel the world, you get to know some inside sources, and that's why your channel is pretty awesome. Final story here is Tesla is again top Consumer Satisfaction Index for luxury vehicles. They're tied with Mercedes-Benz. 2024 American Customer Satisfaction Index in the luxury segment. So they tied at the score of 83. While Tesla's score was unchanged, though, apparently the kind of reasoning why it's there has changed. So if we look at this, Tesla's pricing strategy may be helping with value perceptions, while improved complaint handling appears to offset some customer concerns in other areas over the past year. Tesla will look to leverage its reputation for customer satisfaction as the company seeks to broaden its market with a lower price Model 2 and Robotaxi. Remember, this is luxury vehicles. And so in a way, it's changing a little bit.
It's huge because you're competing on luxury against Mercedes and coming out with a tie. That's pretty good.
I see.
Because I wouldn't say it's luxury. I would say it's premium. There was a whole show about this on Autoline where they had to address it because people kept complaining in the comments, why do you call Tesla a luxury car? And they said, well, we don't. We call it a premium car because that's how car brands are divided. It's always been this way. Are you saying Lincoln is a premium car, a luxury car? Well, that's how it's classed. So, yes. And if you look at the tech package, if you look at the performance, it's got, it doesn't have rich Corinthian leather, but it does have everything else you'd want. It's got the tech, it's got the ease of driving, it's got all the assist features, and those are premium.
I actually don't know what we're looking at here because it doesn't say Tesla, but this is luxury nameplates. I guess this is like the average, the benchmark of how they all match.
I think this is Tesla 23 to 24. So you'll see that it's improved in some areas and not in others.
Okay.
So
yeah.
But I'm not, because that would give you about a score of 83 if you average those, because you've got 86 to 80. So I'm just guessing.
All right, there you go. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate this great review and insights that you provide always. Check him out on his channel, FutureAza. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.